I'd like to just give you an introduction to the Trello application and to show you some of the things that Leo's been setting up on there. It'll just be an overview of all the different projects we set up. What I can do is then do like a deep dive into each one so that you can kind of see some of the tasks that are earmarked in those, to see whether you'd be interested in getting involved in some of those projects. And we'll make sure we try and get some of the detailed tasks on the board, but at least there'll be a context then as to why we're doing particular things and the timescales. So hope you enjoy having a look around. I hope it's not too bamboozling. It's a pretty intuitive app. So I'll just fire up the Trello and we'll have a look at that.
Well, welcome to the Trello board for the JHCL projects. So what you're seeing on the screen is a series of columns, and each one of those has got a label at the top. So we've got various ones along here. We've got Project Hub Garden, we've got specifically the propagation bed, the Century Garden, compost area, orchard, pond renovation, decking renovation, a whole load of miscellaneous jobs. Jobs for the Foxley Nursing Home when they come in, so we've got a list of tasks that we are planning, and also as a record of what we've done with them. List of materials and tools that we might wish to be buying or hiring in. So anybody's got anything they want to add to that, then let's get that on there. Probably the best thing to do is to write something in the book in the barn, and then we can pick that up and make sure it gets pulled onto here. We get it costed out and we work out whether it's a priority to buy it or not. Craft and do-it-yourself jobs, and at the end there's a planting plan that we haven't really started yet, which we need to work together on for the project. So that gives you an idea of a sort of a high-level overview of what we've identified as key areas already. I know people have talked a lot about these, but I just thought we really need to write it all down and get all the tasks we want to do and all the priorities of doing it sorted out, because otherwise you're just talking around in circles and not getting anywhere. So that's what I've done here. Just to go back to the hub garden, you can see here these are called cards, and on here it's got the photograph that shows the hub. So this is what we put on the laminated boards in the barn and on the entrance in. So this is typically where we walk in here. You've got the perennial, oh no, wrong one, here from the car park. So you go in here. And then you go off to the polytunnel. Some of the bits are taken up with the shelter and the triangle bed, and then some of them are like permanent structures within that, and we've got the Century Garden round the edge. So we've got what we can also do. Let me just go and show you this. We have something called labels, and on there you can create your own labels to make it easier to manage things, and then you can filter by label. So you've got like low priority, medium priority, top priority, and then we've also got labels that I thought was a good idea Leo put in here of whether what season they would be done in. So it could be a high priority, but it might be a winter job. So for example, the pond renovation, that's a winter job. It's actually medium priority, potentially it's high. You've got jobs that need to be done every 2 weeks, so that would typically be weeding. And then I've also put on here things that if we've identified something that maybe we could have as a workshop, we might want to have a board here for workshops. And then also corporate tasks. So if we've got a corporate group coming in, it's something that they could work on. So it starts to build up a list of things that we could do. So I could actually then, if I wanted to, I could filter. How do I do the filtering? That's the fun part. Filter, and I could filter it by corporate tasks, for example. So then we can see, oh look, in here we've got a couple of things: breaking the grass away and building something I will be talking about at some point, a Romanian haystack, and then obviously things like clearing the access paths into that, doing some craft and do-it-yourself jobs. So it's quite handy to do that. Let's go back to that view. So going back to, for example, the compost area. then there's quite a lot of jobs to do there in terms of getting the mixer sorted out, getting the composite decking in that we want to use, which is coming from a Bracknell Town Council have kindly donated some plastic decking that they don't need around their pond. So that should be coming this week, and we can then see how much there is and earmark most of it for building some robust compost bays, but we might have some left over for other projects, for example building some accessible beds for wheelchairs, so that would be a good use of that as well. So those things that have been done, like emptying the old compost bin. So Leo's been putting photographs of what the project looks like, where it is. This is the big weed pile that's been tidied up a bit now. The tick means it's been done, so that's good. And there's moving the wood chip away from where it was to the new area that needs to be done. So these are sort of the jobs that we can put on the board. So if somebody feels like doing something a bit big and strong, they can do that. And also, this is my key one, create a plan for the compost area, because I don't think there's an overall plan. Stepping Stones are going to work with Leo on that, so Ian from Stepping Stones is keen to help out on that, so that's really good. So I just dumped in my thoughts about we need to decide where are we putting this composter and the hot box and the footings, how many compost bays, where's the wood chip going, what are we doing with the bunny gold, how do we fill the ride-down, what are we doing about the dead leaves, and what are we doing about things like convolvulus and dandelions and things that, what I call pernicious, that just keep coming back year after year and just bulking up, and we need to kill those off. Hopefully this ride-down thing will enable that, because it runs very hot and it should kill anything off. And maybe we could go back to doing what David Putt used to do. That he used to lay all the weeds out on the grass and then mow them, chop them up so they break up better. And this is actually something Monty Dunn also does to try and just make it easier to get it all to break down, because we want it to break down within 6 months ideally, so we can then use it. We'll talk about more about that in another video clip. So that gives you an idea of what we can do in terms of setting up projects. If other projects come to light, we can put those on there. You can put people's name against it. So here we've got Mary, Harris and Leo on getting brush cutters all ordered, so that's been done now. So we've now got a working high quality brush cutter that can be used. The other thing you can do is you can show all these things on a calendar. So this will be useful for Leo, because he's got then an idea of what needs to be prioritised and what he needs to get on the board, because there's so many different things going on site and so many people with ideas. It needs some structure. So this here is showing you from September. Let's go down. So September the 1st, getting the beds labelled. That was to be finished by the 1st of September. Creating a plan for the compost area by the 3rd. The flower arranging session with the folks from Foxley Grange. Jean's kindly offered to help with that, and Andy will be in on that day as well to make them tea and coffee and make them feel welcome. Looking at what we could do for cuttings if you wish to do that. Emptying the water butts, I put that we should really get that all done by the 18th, although they're probably all full up again now, so we may have missed our chance. Getting all the grass brush cuttings up, and then by the 9th of October, see if we can get all the grass cuttings raked away off the orchard once it's all been cut down. And then some plans for each of the beds by the 16th of October. So it goes right down. It goes right. We've got other things happening. So we've got the pond. We can't do anything with the pond until November. There are strict regulations if you found crested newts in your pond, which means we're not allowed to do any work without a registered licensed newt person outside of the period from November to January. So we've got a window November to January, clear the pond out, take the lining out, get the new one in. So that's a very big job. It's not something I really want to get involved with, but we do need a team of people that can start work on that over the winter months, because it's very time critical before the newts come back, and they could start coming back from the beginning of February if the weather's good. So I hope you've enjoyed this overview of Trello. Hopefully that's reassured you that there are some plans going forward. Thank you so much for listening, and hopefully you'll be able to share some more videos if you think these are useful. Thank you very much. Bye.